We all know about the daring air raids over Nazi Germany during World War II, and probably imagining some American B-17 during the day bombing German industry or the British Landcasters in the night leaving a trail of fire and destruction through German cities. But the first ever bombing of the Nazi capital Berlin was accomplished by another Allied country, and this was France. This was a very hard task for the French, because Berlin was at a very long distance for their airplanes and also because of all the air defenses the Germans had. This raid was an embarrassment for the Germans because they thought it was impossible for any Allied country to bomb their city capital, and even Hermann Göring, which was the head of the Luftwaffe, said that, "If any bombs fell on Reich, I will change my name to Mayer." This was supposed to mean that he will become a nobody, as Mayer was a very common German name. He probably ended up regretting his statement in the following years. During the battle for France, German aircraft bombed Paris, and the people wanted revenge, but the French army did not have any long-range bombers, so the only aircraft suitable for this mission was a transport aircraft, the Farman F-223. This aircraft first flew in 1938 and it had a range of around 5,000 miles. The French army chose 3 aircraft that it modify in order to be able to carry bombs, and the planning of the raid began. The French chose the Siemens factories in Berlin, in the area called Siemensstadt. The route chosen for this was from Bordeaux, though the Atlantic coast, flying at low level to avoid German fighters, then through Denmark and then turn to Berlin and after turn back to France and land in Paris. 2 aircraft took off on June 7, 1940, and after a long journey they started to see the Berlin lights below. At midnight they arrived and fooled the German defenses, pretending to land at Tempelhof airport, but after that, they just flew past and dropped all the bombs over the German territory. The French planes managed to escape the German air defenses and fighters and arrived in France. They landed in Paris with a successful mission accomplished, and while the value of the raid proved more psychological than anything else, the raid was repeated 3 days later. There were no major damages to the German capital, just the embarrassment the German government faced, but they choose to tell the public that the light searches and gunfire were just an exercise. The first real bombing raid on Berlin would not occur until August 25, 1940, during the Battle of Britain. Hitler had placed London off limits for bombing, and the Luftwaffe was concentrating on defeating the Royal Air Force in preparation for a cross-channel invasion. But on the night of August 24th, a German plane dropped bombs on London, probably by accident, on its way home from a raid. Prime Minister Winston Churchill immediately ordered to retaliate with a raid on Berlin. That same night, a force of 81 Vickers Wellingtons and Handley Page Hampdens headed for Berlin. Only about half of them reached the capital, which was obscured by dense clouds. Little damage was done, but one bomb killed the only elephant in the Berlin Zoo.